Welcome to another episode of Financial Minds. I'm Jamie Agostino, your host. We've spent the past several weeks highlighting the teams that work behind the scenes to help accelerate credit union success at Vizo Financial. Today, we're joined by Vizo Financial's Project Management Office, who works quietly in the background but plays a critical role in bringing big initiatives to life. Whether it's system upgrades or cross-department collaboration, the PMO team helps ensure everything runs smoothly and seamlessly for Vizo Financial and the credit unions they serve. Please join me in welcoming the PMO team. So could you, each of you just take a moment, introduce yourselves? Judy, how about you go first?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jamie. I'm excited to be here. So my name is Judy Jackson, and I am the Associate Project Manager here at Vizo Financial. I've been with the corporate for 5 years, and before becoming the Associate Project Manager, about a year and a half ago, I worked in marketing as the Communication Specialist. So in my current role, I help conduct process reviews, and I manage a variety of projects from initiation to closing throughout the corporate.
Okay. And
All
Chris?
right. Well, thanks, Jamie, for having us. My name is Chris Dowhauer, and I am the Vice President of Project Management here at Vizo Financial. So I've been with the corporate for about 28 years now, and I have had the opportunity to work in several areas of our organization, but I've been leading the PMO for about the last 18 years or so. So I work a lot with our executive team on some strategic alignment and making sure we're working on things we should be working on in the corporate.
Wow. When you said 18 years in PMO, I can't believe it's been that long, Chris. Wow.
It has been that long, Jamie. It has been that long. So,
Well, for those that are unfamiliar, what exactly does PMO do within the organization?
So in PMO, we wear many hats. We manage projects from beginning to end while also ensuring that the projects we undertake support our strategic goals. We review our processes throughout the corporate to ensure that we're being as efficient as possible for both our employees and members. And we're also the centralized communication hub and historical archive for the corporate's initiatives.
we do that kind of on a daily basis. Additionally, part of our role is, as Judy alluded to, assisting with strategically aligning and prioritizing the work that we undertake every day. So we also facilitate ongoing improvements through what we call value management processes. And that's really about looking at the pain points or needs of the organizations and addressing them.
Okay. All right. So then how does PMO impact the member credit unions of Vizo Financial?
That's a good question, Jamie. So our impact to member credit unions is indirect through the projects we manage and the processes that we review for efficiencies. For example, when reviewing processes, our goal is to ensure that they're efficient and as seamless as possible for our members and that they aren't creating any roadblocks or unnecessary steps for those involved. When we work on projects, we aim to ensure that the projects benefit our members and the corporate. We believe that we succeed when our members succeed, which means we're working hard in the background to mitigate risk associated with projects, ensuring that we're communicating important information about projects to our members and keeping projects on track so that we can stay committed to our deadlines. And so while none of these tasks directly impact our members, they do directly impact members, right? In the way of ensuring that conversions, launches, and other projects that are directly impacting the members run smoothly and efficiently because we care about our member experience. That's top of mind for us while we're engaging in the projects and process reviews.
Absolutely. So it's not really a straight line, but there is a definite connection between what we do and the level of service that it really provides for our membership.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned it, Judy. So you used the word conversion. So when looking at a large project like conversion, what are your first priorities?
It depends on the type of project and the methodology used for that project, but generally the first priority is to understand the goal of the project and the task associated with that goal, along with who the project impacts. So it's imperative that we have a clear scope of what needs to be done and who it impacts because that guides the entire project, right? And it's also important that we know about any constraints like deadlines, budgeting requirements. the resources needed, the availability of those resources, any known or unknown risk, things like that that could impact the project.
Okay.
Yeah, fully agree. I mean, definitely it's about the scope, making sure we're all clear on what we are trying to accomplish, defining what constitutes success for the project, what we are doing, what we're not doing, what's in scope, what's out scope. Really getting everybody on the same page, in my mind, is critical.
All right. So then, how do you build and manage timelines that involve multiple departments?
Yeah, so like Chris said, the scope is very important. So we gather the core team together to understand the task associated with the scope of the project, right? And so we'll utilize a tool that we call it's a work breakdown structure. And so we use it to break down the deliverables for the project into work packages. And it's here that we identify who will be responsible for that work. So once that information is gathered, we can connect with those who are responsible to get an understanding of the task associated with their work packages and how long it will take them to complete their task, along with any dependencies that they may have. So, for example, one department may say, I can't provide you this document until I get this information from a different department. So things like that. Um, and then from there, we'll build the timeline. We'll also take into account any constraints, again, like the budget, the resource availability, or the deadlines. Um, and so the managing portion of the timeline can be tricky sometimes, but with clear communication and ensuring that everyone knows what their tasks are and how their task contributes to the project as a whole, we're able to keep the project on task and meet our deadlines. And we also follow up a lot.
Yes, I might be aware of that.
Yeah, and I agree with everything Judy said. For our traditional methodology, we really work with each business unit or with each resource actually, and really try to understand the work that they need to accomplish. And to Judy's point, we work everything from estimating with them to what risks they can identify with them. We coordinate that all together with any hard deadlines. And in the end, we create what we call our plan. And we go over that plan with our whole team and make sure everybody's bought into doing what they're supposed to be doing when they're supposed to be doing. So it's very much intended to be a group and collaborative thought process.
Okay. All right. So, what's your approach to keeping projects on task when those unexpected issues come up?
I'll tell you, Jamie, no matter how much you plan or how many issues you try to identify ahead of time, unexpected issues will arise.
Yeah.
And it's important to deal with these as soon as possible, right? So if there's an issue that affects a task on the critical path, and by critical path, I mean the longest path from the start to the end of the project. And this path includes all the essential tasks for the project. If there's an issue that affects something on this path, we will often gather the core team together immediately to discuss the issue and then determine our approach on how best to handle it. And I think Chris mentioned this a few minutes ago. It's a very collaborative effort between the project management office and the core team for the project.
Yep. Again, agree with you totally, Judy. And to me, it's really about the communication, clear and consistent. When something goes off track, you need to have a common understanding with as much information as possible and get a group think going so you can make the best decisions to move forward.
All right. Well, based on that, Chris, you said communications. How do you ensure clear communications across teams with different goals and perspectives?
So, in order to keep communications clear, we need to understand the goals and perspectives of the different teams, right? And how they relate to the project at hand. Because once we have an understanding of what teams need, we can help reiterate their perspective to other departments and make sure that their voices are heard, which helps us keep everyone on the same page and moving towards the same goal, which is ultimately the success of the project.
Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. We truly act as the source of record. We are the communication hub. So we try and have things flow through the PMO so we know that we are getting consistent and clear communications out from a project perspective. Everyone's on kind of the same page and hearing the same messaging.
Okay. So when you complete, a project, how do you measure whether a project was truly successful?
So the success of a project really hinges on if we completed our deliverables and also if we provided a service or product or a process to our end users that meets their needs. Because if we successfully completed the deliverables, but our end user, they don't find the product or service or process useful or helpful in any way, then we can't really consider it a successful project.
Okay.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree with you, Judy. I also think there's kind of different answers for that. So, like up front, part of the process is really defining criteria for success. So we have that kind of labeled up front, and we kind of get buy-in and agreement on that before we start our initiatives. With that said, we can meet those objectives, and if we've killed our team throughout the course of the project, I don't necessarily consider that a success. I mean, yes, we've met our objectives, but the idea is for it to be full circle,
Right.
meeting the objectives, making your sponsor happy, and in addition, not killing your team. So I think to truly be successful, I'd want to say that we've met our objectives, we have our sponsorship happy, and we have a happy team that goes along with that as well
Right.
too.
Okay. So what tools or methodologies does your team rely on to stay organized and effective?
I mentioned it earlier. We rely heavily on our work breakdown structure because it helps us decompose the deliverables into manageable work packages. And then we're able to attach the responsible parties to those work packages. So typically, what we'll do is we'll hold a meeting with all the core and extended team to go through the work breakdown structure together, which helps us ensure that we're all on the same page on what needs to be done and who will be doing it. And then we use that to build our timelines in Microsoft Project, which is a fantastic tool. It has so many features and it helps us keep all the tasks organized based on deadlines, dependencies, and what have you.
Absolutely. And those are tools we use daily. From a methodology standpoint, we learned pretty quickly that with the speed of technology and the evolving landscape of our industry, one size doesn't really fit all. So we use many different methodologies. We have the predictive or waterfall, which is kind of the traditional methodology. That's a lot about planning up front. We also have a hybrid methodology that combines both predictive and agile practices. That allows us to have agility while still meeting our hard deadlines. And we've also brought in the value management framework, which really focuses on stakeholders and customers' perception of value. So basically, we're trying to customize to fit your needs with whatever initiative we're working on. So, yeah, it could be a plethora of methodologies we work through. But truly, as far as helping the credit union succeed, we see ourselves as part of a much bigger machine to help make our credit union successful. We just keep that machine up to date and running and productive. So all of this is intended to support the credit unions in the background. So overall, yeah, I'd say that's where our value comes into the CUs.
Okay. So any final comments you'd like to share with our audience on how your roles, how your team helps credit unions succeed?
Yeah, so oh, go ahead, Chris.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead, Judy.
Okay. I was going to say a lot of what I do is behind the scenes. Credit unions are unlikely to hear my name or come into contact with me. However, I'm working diligently alongside the rest of the PMO, of course, to ensure that we're keeping member experience top of mind while undertaking projects or undergoing process reviews. The goal of the corporate, right, is the success of credit unions. I mean, that's our vision statement. It's accelerating credit union success. So with our projects, our goal is to provide the services and the products that our members want and or need to be successful. And my job, again, along with the rest of the PMO, is to make sure that we carry out these projects as smoothly as possible for our members. We're very committed to ensuring that our credit unions and credit unions in general succeed.
I don't think I could say it any better than that. So, absolutely. I
All
concur.
right. All right. Well, as we've heard today, the project management office may not always be front and center, but their impact is felt across every successful initiative. By connecting teams, managing complexity, and keeping projects on track, they play a key role in delivering a seamless experience for Vizo Financial and its member credit unions. And I also like to take a moment and thank Vizo Financial's blog for sponsoring today's episode. Vizo Financial's blog consists of articles written by experts on staff as well as our partner organizations. They cover the topics all credit unions need to know about, including the economy, cybersecurity, payments, leadership, and AI, and so much more. New articles are released weekly, and you can even subscribe to the blog to have them sent straight to your email. Visit the resources page of Vizo Financial's website at www.vfccu.org to check out the Vizo Financial blog today. Thanks for joining me on Financial Minds Meet the Experts, and thank you to the PMO team for your work and everything you do to drive success every day. We will continue this series of meeting the teams and spotlighting another team who makes Vizo Financial's mission real. As always, thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and make it a great day.